Veronica's silent partner is definitely an interesting episode of Veronica's Closet and took several directions that I wasn't expecting. There may be some spoilers in this discussion, so I'll just say from now there might be spoilers from this point onwards. I guess it depends on what you consider to be a spoiler. I won't give away the big thing, but there will be some other things. This is the 22nd episode of the first season, and here we have the return of Millicent, played by, of course, the brilliant Holland Taylor. And I was really glad that she was in this episode because I did wonder in the previous episode if she was somebody who'd come in once and then we'd never see her again, it would never be mentioned again. She is, of course, in agreement with Veronica to buy some of the company to help the company expand, which is an exciting thing. Who knows where the company could go with more money and more power behind it, but I won't say any more about that. But what's particularly interesting, and as I said, these might be potential spoilers, is that Millie strikes up this relationship with Josh. And Veronica has this conversation with Josh, telling Josh not to do anything because it could jeopardize this partnership. And I thought this was really interesting because to me, Josh was gay. It was never spoken, it's never been said, but to me, the implication was so obvious that Veronica wouldn't even think for a second that Josh would have this relationship with Millie. So I was kind of really fascinated by this, that the episode basically said maybe the character isn't gay. Maybe he's uncertain about his sexual identity, maybe he's bisexual, but it was, for me, it was a really fascinating discovery that maybe the show itself hadn't decided what direction they want to take with his character. And I found that to be really interesting. So for me, there were definitely things in this that I hadn't foreseen, that I hadn't predicted. It's a very well written episode. Veronica, in particular, has some brilliant, witty retorts to things that characters say, which is interesting because often it's the other characters giving witty responses to things she's saying and making fun of her, and I rather like that. So it's definitely an interesting episode. And ultimately, what happened, well, with Josh and Millie, and then with Millie, I thought was, yeah, not expected. Really unpredictable episode. Really thoroughly enjoyed it. Generally very funny. I mean, Veronica's Closet is a very funny show. Um, and one that I really thoroughly enjoyed. Definitely a very different episode. And I'm keen to see not how I feel about Josh going forward, because I won't feel any differently, but perhaps what this episode does for shaping future stories, and if they ever do make a concrete decision about what they want to do with Josh, and whether he, starts to date anybody long term, and what comes of that. Very curious to see more. But for now, really thoroughly enjoyed Veronica's silent partner.